The stars had always been silent. For 12,000 years, the Galactic Harmony Council ruled over 300 worlds with quiet words and gentle threats. When species grew too proud, the Council reminded them of their place. When worlds tried to fight, the Council showed them why fighting was pointless. Admiral Lee Hyen stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching Earth grow smaller through the glass. The blue planet looked peaceful from space, but Lee knew better. Earth was preparing for war. "Sir, message coming in," said Captain Park Nara. She was young for a captain, but the fleet needed good officers. War was coming, whether they wanted it or not. Lee nodded. "Put it on screen." The air above them flickered. A strange shape appeared, something like a jellyfish made of light. It spoke without moving, its voice filling the bridge like music. "AM Velthari Nexus Prime, speaker for the Galactic Harmony Council. You will listen." Lee crossed his arms. He had heard about these aliens. They thought they owned the galaxy. They thought every species should bow to them. "We're listening," Lee said. "Your species has left its home system. This requires council approval. You did not ask for approval. This is ... concerning." Captain Park looked at Lee. Her hand moved closer to her weapon. "We don't need your approval to travel," Lee said. "Space is big enough for everyone." The alien shape pulsed brighter. "You misunderstand. The galaxy operates under council law. All species must join the harmony. All species must accept their place. There is no choice in this matter." Lee laughed. It was not a happy sound. "There's always a choice. Your species is young. You do not understand galactic politics. We offer you membership in our great civilization. You will be protected. You will be guided. You will be ... managed." "Managed," Park whispered. Her face was angry. Lee held up his hand for quiet. "What? If we say no?" The alien was quiet for a long moment. When it spoke again, its voice was colder. "No species says no to the council. Those who try ... learn better. We have methods to teach proper respect." "Threats?" Lee asked. "Corrections." Lee looked around his bridge. 30 good officers watched him. Behind them, through the ship's corridors, 800 more crew members waited. Beyond his ship, 40 more vessels carried the best of humanity's space fleet. It wasn't much compared to an galactic empire, but it was theirs. "I have a message for your council," Lee said. "Speak. We decline your invitation." The alien shape flickered. "You ... decline." "That's right. We decline. Earth will not join your council. Humanity will not bow to your laws. We choose our own path. This is impossible. No species refuses the council. The galaxy has known peace for 12,000 years because all species accept their place." "Then your peace just ended," Lee said. "Close the channel." The alien disappeared. The bridge was quiet. Captain Park was the first to speak. "Sir, was that wise?" Lee turned to look at her. Probably not. But it was right. 3 days later, the aliens came back. Ambassador Kong Wu sat in his small office aboard the diplomatic ship Harmony's Edge. The ship was not built for war. It carried scientists, translators, and peace negotiators. Now it carried Earth's final diplomatic mission to the galaxy. The door opened. A tall figure walked in, something that looked like a metal tree with too many arms. This was Ekmar, the evaluator, the council's military expert. "Ambassador Kong," the alien said. Its voice sounded like grinding metal. "I bring the council's final offer." Kong set down his tea. "I'm listening." Your Admiral Lee Hyen's response was ... unexpected. "The council wishes to avoid misunderstanding. We offer your species one more chance to accept membership. And if we refuse again..." Ekmar's metal arms moved in complex patterns. "The council has weapons that can turn stars into dust. We have ships that travel between dimensions. We have broken species that thought themselves mighty." Kong nodded slowly. "I see. Do you? Your species has barely left its home system. Your ships are primitive. Your weapons are crude. A single council destroyer could glass your entire planet. Perhaps. There is no perhaps. This is fact. Your admiral speaks of choice, but choice requires power. You have no power here." Kang picked up his tea again. The cup was old, made by his grandmother decades ago. Simple clay, nothing fancy. But it was his. "You're right," Kong said. "We're not as advanced as you. Our ships are simple. Our weapons are basic." Vecmar leaned forward. "Then you accept?" "No." The alien's arms stopped moving. "Explain." Kong smiled. "You judge power by technology, by the size of fleets, by the ability to destroy planets. These are the measures of power, are they? Tell me, evaluator, in all your thousands of years of peace, has any species ever fought back? Fighting is pointless against superior force." "That's not what I asked." Vecmar was quiet. Kong continued. "Every species you've conquered gave up when you showed them your big ships. They saw your weapons and decided resistance was hopeless. This is wisdom. Maybe, or maybe it just means you've never fought anyone who didn't care about the odds. Your meaning." Kong set down his cup. "We know we can't match your technology. We know you have more ships. We know you could destroy Earth. Then why resist? Because some things matter more than winning. Some things matter more than survival. Vecmer's metal frame creaked. This is illogical. To you maybe, but humans have died for ideas before. We've fought wars we couldn't win. We've stood against impossible odds because standing was the right thing to do. You would sacrifice your entire species for pride. Kong shook his head. Not for pride, for freedom. Your council offers safety in exchange for submission. We choose danger with dignity. The council will not accept this response. Then the council will learn something new about humans. 2 hours later, Kong's diplomatic ship exploded. The attack came without warning. A council patrol vessel appeared from hyperspace and fired once. The Harmony's edge became expanding plasma in seconds. Admiral Lee got the news while reviewing battle plans. Sir Park said quietly. Long-range sensors showed debris where Ambassador Kong's ship should be. Lee closed his eyes. Kang had been a good man, a peaceful man who believed in talking instead of fighting. Any survivors? No, sir. The attack was thorough. Lee opened his eyes. Round the bridge, his officers watched him. Waiting for orders. Waiting to see what humanity would do when diplomacy died. Signal the fleet, Lee said. All ships to battle stations. Sir, we're outnumbered 1,000 to 1. I know they have better weapons, better shields, better everything. I know that too. Then why fight? Lee looked out at the stars. Somewhere, out there, the council was preparing their response. They expected humanity to surrender after seeing their diplomat murdered. They expected fear and submission. They were going to be disappointed because, Lee said, someone needs to teach these aliens what happens when you kill a human envoy. Someone needs to show them that some species don't negotiate from their knees. Park smiled grimly. Orders, sir. Set course for the council monitoring. Station at Kepler 442. Full speed. What are our rules of engagement? Lee's smile was cold as space. There are no rules anymore. Captain, the council wanted to show us how galactic warfare works. Time to show them how human warfare works. The fleet turned toward enemy space. Behind them, Earth prepared for war. The age of forced peace was ending. The age of human stubbornness had begun. Commander Ojisu watched the red lights flash across her control board. Mars Defense Command buzzed with activity as her staff tracked incoming ships. How many? She asked. 47 council vessels, reported Lieutenant Kim Daeon, estimated arrival in 6 hours. Oh nodded. Mars had 12 defense platforms and 23 patrol ships. The math was not good. They're sending a message, Kim said. Put it through. The screen showed a creature that looked like a giant bird made of metal and crystal. Its voice was smooth and confident. I am Zeph Kali Warsinger, commander of the Council Demonstration Fleet. You will surrender your colony worlds immediately. Resistance will result in destruction. Oh looked at her young lieutenant. Kim was barely 25, fresh from Earth's Naval Academy. His hands shook slightly. Response, sir, Kim asked. Tell them we're thinking about it. Oh sit by us some time. The Council fleet arrived exactly on schedule. They moved in perfect formation, their ships gleaming in the sunlight. Each vessel was 10 times larger than anything humans had built. They're beautiful, whispered engineer Yoon Tae from his station. Look at those energy readings. Their shields alone use more power than our entire defense grid. Beautiful things can still die, Oh said. Status report. All defense platforms ready. Patrol ships in position. Mining fleet ... Sir. What about the mining fleet? Yoon grinned. They refuse to evacuate. Say they want to help fight. Rubbed her forehead. Miners were stubborn people. They spent their lives breaking rocks in space. Violence didn't scare them. Fine, what can they do? Well, Yoon said slowly, a mining ship carries a lot of explosives, and those asteroid haulers are basically flying bombs if you remove the safety systems. You're suggesting suicide attacks. I'm suggesting we use every tool we have. The Council fleet stopped just outside Mars orbit. They sent another message. This is your final warning. Surrender now or face consequences. O activated the colony-wide communication system. Her voice carried to every habitat, every mining station, every human in the Mars system. Citizens of Mars, she said, the Council demands our surrender. They want us to kneel and beg for mercy. Anyone who wants to leave can take the last transport. To Earth, she paused, looking around the command center. Not one person moved toward the exit. Those staying, prepare for battle. We're going to show these aliens what Mars miners do to bullies. The transport launched empty. The battle began an hour later. The Council ships moved forward slowly, their weapons charging. They expected the human defenses to break quickly. Primitive species always broke quickly. The first surprise came from the asteroid belt. Pilot Cho Mingi flew her fighter through the rocky field, her ship's engines screaming. Behind her, 19 other fighters weaved between floating boulders. Mining charges placed, she reported. Detonating in 3.2.1. The asteroid field exploded. millions of rocks became millions of bullets, flying toward the Council fleet at incredible speed. The aliens' shields flared as they tried to stop the debris storm. "Nice work, Mingy," O said over the radio. Phase 2. The mining ships came next. Huge, slow vessels loaded with explosives. The Council ships targeted them easily, destroying most before they got close, but not all. The Rockbreaker was an old hauler, 60 years of faithful service. Captain Seo Jinwoo had flown her since he was young. Now he aimed her at the largest Council ship. "Tell my family I died well," he radioed. The Rockbreaker rammed into the alien vessel's shield generator. Both ships disappeared in a ball of fire. The Council fleet's perfect formation wavered. "Impossible," Zefkali said from his command ship. "They're using suicide tactics. This violates all rules of civilized warfare." His tactical officer, a creature of living crystal, sparkled nervously. "Sir, we've lost 3 ships. Their attacks are completely random. We can't predict their movements. They're primitives. Their tactics should be simple." "Yes, sir, but they don't seem to care about their own survival." On Mars, O watched the battle through her sensors. The defense platforms were firing everything they had. The patrol ships darted between the larger vessels like angry wasps. "How are we doing?" she asked. "We've destroyed 8 of their ships," Yoon reported, "but we've lost most of our fleet." The miners, still fighting. They've turned 3 haulers into guided missiles. "Oh, and the ice prospectors are doing something creative with their drilling lasers." The ice miners had indeed found a creative use for their equipment. Industrial drilling lasers weren't designed as weapons, but they cut through Council shields like paper. The Ice Queen, captained by Nam Haijin, flew straight at a Council destroyer. Her drilling array spun up to full power. "Come on, you pretty bird," she muttered. "Let's see how you like a real close shave." The laser cut deep into the alien ship's hull before the Ice Queen exploded under return fire, but the damage was done. The destroyer spun out of control. Its engines dead. Zeph watched his demonstration fleet falling apart. This was supposed to be easy. Show up, destroy a few targets, accept surrender, standard procedure. "Sir," his tactical officer said, "perhaps we should withdraw and request reinforcements." "Withdraw from primitives." "Sir, they've destroyed 16 of our ships. They're using tactics we've never encountered. They seem to prefer dying to surrendering." Zefkali looked at his tactical display. The human ships were moving in impossible patterns, each one willing to sacrifice itself for a chance to damage his fleet. What kind of species fights like this? He wondered aloud. Commander O had the same question, but about the aliens. "They're retreating," Kim reported, excitement in his voice. "The Council fleet is pulling back." Around the command center, tired, officers cheered. They had done the impossible. They had defeated a Council demonstration fleet. Casualties? O asked quietly. Yoon's smile faded. "Heavy. We lost 80% of our ships. Most of the mining fleet, over 3,000 people." O nodded. Victory always had a price, but they had paid it willingly. "Send a message to Earth," she said. "Tell them Mars stands free. Tell them the Council bleeds like anyone else." The message reached Earth 12 hours later. Within minutes, it was broadcast to every human colony, every ship, every habitat in space. The Council could be beaten. The war was just beginning. Dr. Bae-Sumi stared at the captured Council technology spread across her laboratory table. The alien devices hummed quietly, their crystalline surfaces pulsing with soft light. "Fascinating," she murmured, making notes on her tablet. "Their entire approach to warfare is based on overwhelming superiority. They expect enemies to calculate odds and surrender." Her assistant, Jung Min Seo, looked up from another device. "Makes sense. Why fight when you can just intimidate?" "Because intimidation only works on species that think like they do," Bae replied. "Look at this tactical computer. It has algorithms for every type of standard galactic warfare, but nothing for what we did at Mars." The door opened. General Im Do-yeon walked in, his uniform still dusty from the construction sites. Earth was building ships faster than ever before, preparing for the real war to come. "Doctor," he said, "what can you tell me about our enemies?" Bae activated a holographic display. Images of various alien species appeared in the air. "The Council has 12 member species," she began. "Each one developed intelligence to avoid conflict, not to win it. They used negotiation, intimidation, and superior technology to maintain order, and when those don't work, they've never had to find out. Until now." The display changed, showing brain scans and psychological profiles. "This is the interesting part," Bae continued. "We captured some Council personnel at Mars. Their minds work differently than ours. They're literally incapable of understanding why we keep fighting." General Im frowned. "Explain." "Every Council species evolved from prey animals or herd creatures. They survived by avoiding predators, by finding safety in groups, by submitting to stronger forces. Fighting to the death isn't just foreign to them, it's incomprehensible. And humans," Bae smiled grimly. "We evolved from pack hunters, persistence predators. We're the species that ran mammoth to death across frozen plains. We're designed for long, brutal conflicts. Jung looked up from his work. The council's speciesists think war is about demonstrating superiority until the weaker side submits. But humans think war is about destroying the enemy's ability to fight. Exactly, they said. They're trying to play chess while we're playing rugby. Meanwhile, in the depths of space, the council convened an emergency session. The Mindweave Collective floated in their chamber, thousands of individual minds linked into one consciousness. They had tried to read human thoughts during the Mars battle. The experience had left them traumatized. The human minds, they whispered in unison, are filled with violence. They think of death as victory. They see destruction as honor. Nexus Prime pulsed with agitation. This cannot be correct. No sapient species glorifies destruction. We have studied their history, reported the collective. They have fought wars for resources, for territory, for ideas. They have killed billions of their own kind. Yet they call this heroic. Korthok, battlesworn, representative of the council's warrior caste, spoke up. His people were fighters, but even they found humans disturbing. My species understands combat, he growled. We fight for honor, for dominance, for the right to lead. But humans, they fight for concepts, abstract ideas. They will die for the freedom of people they have never met. The council chamber fell silent. On Earth, Councillor Yunhound sat in a secret meeting with 3 alien representatives. They had come quietly, without council approval, seeking a separate peace with humanity. The first alien looked like a giant insect with golden wings. The second was a floating ball of living water. The third resembled a walking tree with too many eyes. Our species wish no part in this war, the insect creature said. The council forced us to join their demonstration fleet. Many of our people died at Mars. Yun nodded sympathetically. War is terrible. We don't want to fight your people. Then why not surrender? The council offers reasonable terms. Because their terms require us to give up our freedom. We can't do that. The water being rippled with confusion. Freedom is not worth death. Logic dictates submission to superior force. Human logic is different. Yun explained. We believe some things are worth dying for. This makes no sense, the tree creature said, its many eyes blinking rapidly. Survival is the primary drive of all intelligent life. Not for us. We value survival, yes, but we value dignity more. The aliens exchanged looks or whatever their species did to show confusion. Your species frightens the council, the insect admitted. They speak of the human problem. Some suggest destroying your entire system before you spread to other worlds. Yun's expression hardened. Let them try. You cannot win against the full might of the council. They have thousands of ships, weapons that can crack planets. Perhaps, but we'll make them pay for every victory. We'll fight in space, on planets, in asteroid fields. We'll make this war so costly that other species will question council rule. The water being swirled nervously. He would drag the entire galaxy into chaos. The galaxy is already in chaos, Yun replied. It's just been hidden under the council's forced peace. We're simply making it visible. Back in her laboratory, Dr. Bay made a discovery that would change everything. General, she called excitedly, you need to see this. I'm hurried over to her workstation, where she had connected several council devices. What am I looking at? Council communication networks. They're linked across the galaxy through something called the Harmony Web. Every member species is connected. So I've been monitoring their chatter. The council isn't just worried about us, they're terrified. Look at these message intercepts. The display showed alien text, translated into Korean. The humans refuse to follow standard warfare protocols. Our casualty projections assume rational enemy behavior. How do we negotiate with a species that prefers death to submission? Read the messages, his eyes widening. They're afraid of us. More than afraid, Bay said. They're realizing that their entire system of control is based on species acting rationally. But humans don't always act rationally. We act emotionally, instinctively, stubbornly, and that breaks their system completely. They've maintained galactic peace for 12,000 years by being the biggest threat in the room. But we're not afraid of threats. We've been dealing with existential dangers our entire evolutionary history. Jung looked up from his console. Doctor, I'm picking up something else. Communications between council member species. Private channels. What are they saying? They're questioning the war. Some are asking why they're fighting humans who never threatened them. Others are wondering if the council's leadership is worth following. Bay and Im exchanged glances. The council isn't just losing ships, Them realized, they're losing legitimacy. Exactly, and they know it, which means they're going to escalate. As if summoned by her words, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. General, a voice called over the intercom. Priority message from Fleet Command. Long-range sensors detect a massive council fleet heading for Sol System. Estimated size, over 2,000 ships. IM's face went pale. The Grand Armada. Yes, sir, the council's ultimate fleet. They're coming to finish this. Bay saved her research and began shutting down her equipment. How long do we have? 6 weeks, maybe 7. Time, enough. In looked around the laboratory, at the alien technology they were slowly understanding, at the young scientists working frantically to unlock the secrets of galactic warfare. It'll have to be, he said, because if we can't find an edge in 6 weeks, humanity won't get a second chance. Outside the laboratory windows, construction ships worked day and night, building humanity's last desperate defense. The real war was coming, and the Council was bringing everything they had. Fleet Admiral Shin Minho stood in the command center deep beneath Geneva, watching the tactical display that showed humanity's doom approaching. 2,000 Council ships moved through space like a metal plague, growing larger on the sensors. Each day, status report, he said quietly. Captain Lim Sora stepped forward. She commanded the experimental ship Bison's Fury, humanity's newest and most dangerous vessel. All defensive positions are ready, she reported. We have 400 ships, counting everything from destroyers to converted cargo haulers. Asteroid fortresses are armed and waiting. The outer system is mined. Against 2,000 Council ships, yes sir, Shin nodded. The math hadn't changed. They were still impossibly outnumbered. But numbers weren't everything. What about Project Wildfire? Chief Engineer Hong Jiho looked up from his console. He was a small man with tired eyes, but his mind held humanity's most dangerous secrets. Ready for deployment, he said. Though I still think we're insane to try it. Insane is what we do best. Shin replied. The Council expects rational behavior. Time to disappoint them again. The Grand Armada emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Sol System like an avalanche of metal and energy. At its head flew the Eternal Harmony, a ship the size of a small moon. Its commander was the Apex Trinity. 3 alien consciousness merged into one supreme warmind. We have arrived. The Trinity thought to itself. Now the human infestation ends. The Trinity had studied every report from Mars, every analysis of human tactics. It understood that humans were unpredictable, emotional, willing to die for abstract concepts. This knowledge would make victory easier. Emotional species could be manipulated. Their feelings could be turned against them. Open communication with the human leadership, the Trinity commanded. The message reached Earth instantly. Admiral Shin accepted the call, knowing that billions of humans were watching. The screen showed something impossible, 3 different alien faces occupying the same space. Speaking in perfect unison, I am the Apex Trinity, Supreme Commander of the Grand Armada. You have caused enough chaos. Surrender now, and your deaths will be quick. Shin smiled. That's the best offer you can make. Quick deaths. Your resistance has cost Council lives. This requires punishment. But we are not without mercy. Surrender, and we will preserve some of your species as curiosities. Curiosities, zoo specimens. Your violent nature makes you interesting. Some Council species would pay well to observe humans in captivity. Around the command center, Shin's officers muttered angrily. The Trinity's offer was more insulting than threatening. Counteroffer, Shin said, turn around and leave. We'll let you keep your dignity. The Trinity's 3 faces showed identical expressions of surprise. You have 400 ships. We have 2,000. You cannot win. Probably not. But we can make you pay. At what cost? Your entire species will die. Shin looked around the command center. Every officer, every technician, every person in the room was watching him. Beyond them, Earth waited. Billions of humans holding their breath. Our species has been dying since we first crawled out of caves, Shin said. Everyone dies eventually. The question is whether you die for something worthwhile. The Trinity processed this statement through its merged consciousness. The concept made no sense. You would sacrifice billions for pride. Not for pride. For the idea that sapient beings should choose their own fate. That no one has the right to rule over others without consent. This is chaos. The galaxy needs order. Then let the galaxy choose order freely. Don't force it at gunpoint. The Trinity ended the communication. Around the command center, humanity prepared for its final battle. The assault began 12 hours. Later, the Council fleet moved inward in perfect formation. They had learned from Mars, no more small demonstration forces. This time they brought overwhelming power. The first line of defense was the outer asteroid belt. Mining charges and improvised weapons couldn't stop 2,000 ships, but they could hurt them. Captain Nam Suyang commanded the asteroid fortress Gibraltar. It was nothing more than a hollowed-out rock with weapons bolted to it, but it was his rock. Here they come, he reported as the Council vanguard approached. 300 ships in the first wave. The asteroids erupted in fire and fury. Hidden weapons platforms opened up on the advancing fleet. Nuclear mines detonated among the Council ships. The carefully planned attack became a chaotic brawl. But there were too many enemies. Gibraltar is taking heavy fire, Nam reported, his voice calm despite the explosions shaking his command post. Hull breaches on decks 7 through 12. We've lost main power. Evacuate. Admiral Shin ordered from Earth. Negative, we've got one more trick to play. Nam activated the final defense. The entire asteroid began to move, its hidden engines pushing it toward the largest Council ship. The fortress had become a guided missile. Gibraltar and the Council Dreadnought, Serenity's voice collided at tremendous speed. Both vessels ceased to exist in a flash of nuclear fire. The outer defense had fallen, but it had cost the Council 50 ships. The second line of defense was Jupiter. Captain Lim Sora flew her ship Bazan's Fury through the gas giant's atmosphere, using the dense clouds as cover. Behind her, 30 other vessels played a deadly game of hide-and-seek with Council hunters. Sensor contact, reported her tactical officer, Ensign Park Young-ho. 3 destroyers, heading our way. Time to test the new toys, Sora said. Activate Project Wildfire. Deep in the ship's engine room, exotic matter met exotic matter in configurations that should have been impossible. The reaction was controlled, barely, by systems that human science didn't fully understand. The Bazan's Fury became something new. The ship didn't just move through space, it twisted space around itself. Reality bent. Physics complained loudly, but obeyed. The 3 Council destroyers found themselves fighting an enemy that appeared in multiple places simultaneously, that fired weapons that came from directions that didn't exist. Impossible, one of the alien captains transmitted. They're using dimensional technology. No species below level 7 should possess such abilities. Then they stole it from someone, another replied. Focus fire, bring them down. But focusing fire on an enemy that existed in several dimensions was like trying to punch a shadow. The Council ships fired at mirages while the real Bazan's Fury struck from impossible angles. All 3 destroyers were destroyed within minutes. Wildfire successful, Sora reported to Earth. But the power drain is enormous. We can only maintain this for short periods. Understood. Hit and run tactics. Make them chase ghosts. The Jupiter engagement lasted 6 hours. When it ended, humanity had lost 20 ships. The Council had lost over 100. But the Grand Armada kept coming. The final battle took place in Earth's orbit. Admiral Shin stood on Luna Base, watching the end of the world approach. The Council fleet had fought through every defense, paid for every mile in blood and metal. Now they hung in space, above humanity's birth world, like a metal storm. All ships report ready, Captain Lim announced. She had survived Jupiter, though her ship was badly damaged. 137 vessels remaining, against 1,500 Council ships. The Trinity is hailing us, reported communications. Officer Lee Jinyuk put them through. The 3-faced alien appeared on screen, its merged consciousness radiating cold satisfaction. This ends now. Surrender Earth and we will spare your colonies. Shin looked at the tactical display. It was hopeless. They had fought better than anyone expected, but mathematics was mathematics. No, he said simply, your fleet is broken. Your defenses are gone. What can you possibly hope to accomplish? Shin smiled. Around him, his officers began the final countdown. We can show the galaxy what happens when you threaten humanity's home. The Trinity's faces showed confusion. You have no weapons capable of harming our fleet. Don't we? Earth's moon began to move. Project Wildfire hadn't just been about dimensional drives for ships. Chief Engineer Hong had been busy with other applications. The moon's core now contained the largest dimensional reactor ever built. Luna wasn't just a moon anymore, it was a weapon. The satellite accelerated toward the Council fleet, reality bending around it like water around a ship's bow. The sensors screamed warnings as spacetime itself twisted into knots. Impossible, the Trinity broadcast. You cannot weaponize celestial bodies, the energy requirements alone, ... Humans are good at doing impossible things when we're angry enough. Shin replied. The Council fleet tried to scatter, but Luna was too big, too fast, too wrapped in dimensional energy to avoid. The moon swept through their formation like a bowling ball through pins. Ships that had survived the long journey from the galactic core were crushed by gravitational forces. Vessels protected by shields that could stop starfire were torn apart by dimensional rifts. In 30 seconds, Luna destroyed 300 Council ships. Then the dimensional reactor overloaded. The explosion was visible from Mars. When the light faded, Luna was gone. So was most of the Council fleet. The survivors limped away from Earth, their formation broken, their confidence shattered. Admiral Shin watched them go from a bunker deep beneath Earth's surface. The blast had devastated Earth's orbital infrastructure, but the planet lived. Casualty report, he said quietly. President Kim Il-sung stood before the assembled representatives of 47 species in what had once been the United Nations building. The Great Hall had been expanded to accommodate beings that ranged from insect-like creatures to living clouds of gas. 3 months had passed since the destruction of the Grand Armada. 3 months since the galaxy had watched impossibility unfold above Earth. Now the impossible had become the new reality. Friends, Kim began, his voice carrying. To every translator in the room, We are here to discuss something the galaxy has never seen, a voluntary alliance of equals. Murmurs filled the hall. Some species still found the concept difficult to understand. Ambassador Zheng Hana sat at the human delegation table, reviewing notes from weeks of preliminary negotiations. As Earth's chief negotiator, she had spoken. With more alien species in the past month than humans had encountered in their entire history, the Kelvari Republic wishes to speak, announced a tall crystalline being that sparkled when it moved. Kim nodded. Ambassador Tixali, you have the floor. The crystal creature stood, its voice ringing like wind chimes. My people fled Council space. After the Grand Armada's defeat, we have fought the Council's oppression for 3 centuries. Now we ask what makes human alliance different from Council rule. It was a fair question. Half the species in the room had asked similar things. The difference, Kim replied, is choice. The Council demanded submission. We offer partnership. But you destroyed their greatest fleet. You have weapons that can move moons. What prevents you from becoming the new Council? Kim smiled. Because we remember what it feels like to be threatened by a superior force. We won't become what we fought against. Director Park Ji-won, head of Human Intelligence Services, leaned forward at his table. He had been tracking Council activities since the battle. What he had found was encouraging. If I may add, Park said, the Council is fragmenting. 12 member species are reconsidering their allegiance. Others are demanding leadership changes. Their unity is broken. A creature that looked like a floating jellyfish pulsed with different colors. Its translator rendered the patterns as speech. The ethereal collective acknowledges human victory. But we ask practical questions. How would this alliance function? What obligations would members have? Ambassador Zheng stood to answer. This was her specialty, turning the chaos of war into the structure of peace. The human alliance, if we choose that name, would operate on 3 principles, she said. First, voluntary membership. Any species can join or leave freely. The room buzzed with interest. The Council had never allowed members to leave. Second, collective defense. An attack on one member is an attack on all. But each species controls its own military. More murmurs. The Council had controlled all member militaries directly. Third, shared technology and resources, but no forced cultural integration. We want allies, not subjects. A new voice spoke up. It came from a being that looked like a walking tree with silver bark and leaves that glowed softly. The Grovemind Collective has monitored human communications since your first space flights. We have questions about your species' violent history. Kim nodded. He had expected this concern. We won't lie about our past, he said. Humans have fought terrible wars. We've made mistakes that cost millions of lives. But we've also learned from those mistakes. Have you read destruction of Luna Base killed 12,000 of your own people? The room fell silent. It was true, the dimensional explosion had taken a heavy toll on human life. Yes, Kim said quietly, and we mourn every one of them. But they died defending their home, their choice to remain free. We honor their sacrifice by ensuring no other species faces the same ultimatum we did. A small, furry creature with large eyes spoke up. Its voice was high and nervous. The Burrow clans have always avoided conflict. We survived by hiding, by being too small to threaten anyone. But the Council still controlled us, still told us how to live, and now Zheng asked gently, now we want to try something different. We want to choose our own path. Around the room, heads nodded, or whatever gesture each species used to show agreement. But there are practical concerns, said another delegate, this one resembling a metallic spider. The Council still exists. They still have thousands of ships, dozens of worlds. They will not accept this rebellion quietly. Park stood again. Intelligence suggests the Council is in crisis. Their leadership is divided. Some want to negotiate. With us, others demand revenge. Which faction is winning? Neither. They're paralyzed by their own disbelief. For 12,000 years, their system worked perfectly. Now it's collapsed, and they don't know how to respond. Kim looked around the room, studying the faces, or whatever passed for faces of beings from across the galaxy. The Council will try to reassert control, he said. They'll offer concessions, make promises, perhaps even make genuine reforms. But they won't give up their fundamental belief that they know what's best for everyone. So war continues? Asked the crystalline Kelvari delegate. Not necessarily. We're prepared to fight if attacked, but we prefer building to destroying. Ambassador Zheng activated a holographic display showing trade routes, resource sharing agreements, and joint exploration missions. This is what we're offering, she said. Not conquest, but cooperation. Not subjects, but partners. The jellyfish creature pulsed with rapid color changes. The ethereal collective wishes to hear human plans for governance. How would decisions be made in this alliance? By vote, Kim replied. Each member species gets 1 vote, regardless of size or power. Humans don't get special privileges for founding the alliance. The room erupted in surprised discussions. Several species had never heard of such a concept. 1 vote, asked the spider being. even though humans have the most powerful military. One vote, Kim confirmed. Military power doesn't grant political power. Never again. A new delegate spoke up, one that hadn't participated before. It was a council representative, a being of shifting energy patterns that hurt to look at directly. The council offers negotiations, it said, its voice carrying harmonics that made everyone uncomfortable. Terms can be discussed. Compromises reached. The room tensed. This was the moment many had expected, the council's attempt to divide the alliance. Before it fully formed, Kim stood slowly. What terms? Human colonies may remain independent. Some alliance member species may be granted autonomous status. Trade agreements can be negotiated. In exchange for recognition of council authority, in galactic affairs, acceptance of existing territorial boundaries, cessation of alliance expansion. Silence filled the room. The offer was reasonable, as council offers always were. Accept partial freedom in exchange for abandoning the dream of complete independence. Kim looked around the room one more time. 47 species, waiting for his answer. Billions of beings across the galaxy watching through hidden transmissions. Counteroffer, he said, finally. The Council recognizes the sovereignty of all Alliance members. Council ships stay out of Alliance space. All species currently under Council rule are given the option to choose their own path. The energy being flickered with agitation. Impossible. The galaxy requires order, structure, guidance. Whose guidance? Yours, ours. Why not let each species guide itself? Because chaos results, war, suffering. The strong prey upon the weak. Maybe, Kim said, or maybe species learn to work together when they're not forced to submit to an outside authority. The Council delegate pulsed with different energy patterns. You do not understand galactic politics. Without the Council's guidance, 1,000 conflicts will erupt, trade will collapse, civilization will fragment. Park smiled grimly. According to our intelligence, trade is already collapsing in Council space. 12 member species are in open revolt. Others are forming their own alliances. Your civilization is already fragmenting. Because of human interference. Because of human example, Kim corrected. We didn't start rebellions. We just showed that the Council could be resisted. The energy being seemed to shrink in on itself. What do you want? Kim looked around the room one final time, then faced the Council representative directly. We want what we've always wanted. The right to choose our own path. The right to make our own mistakes. The right to succeed or fail based on our own efforts. And if we refuse, then you'll face what the Grand Armada faced. But we'd rather build than destroy. The Council delegate flickered and vanished. Its final words echoed in the chamber. This discussion will continue. As the formal session ended, delegates began forming smaller groups, discussing practical matters of trade, defense, and cooperation. The work of building a new galactic order had begun. Ambassador Jing found herself standing next to the small, furry delegate from the Burrow clans. Do you think it will work? The creature asked quietly. This alliance of